Welcome to the Metabolic Health Docs YouTube channel. Today I'm in beautiful Utica, Mississippi. Utica is where the mother of my lovely wife, Karan, was raised. And although she's not with us physically anymore, my mother-in-law, Myra, will always remain in our hearts, which is why this video is dedicated to her and her memory. This is not the first time I've visited Utica, but it is the first time I wanted to better understand what it's like to live in a country, especially from the perspective of taking care of cows, as you can see from behind me. One of the principles I've learned that I feel can unite both vegans and carnivores is by simply focusing on making our farming practices more sustainable via regenerative farming. So in this video, I wanted to remind you of some of the benefits of this approach. But before I share a few, I wanted to share the basic principle of regenerative agriculture. And what it is regenerative agriculture is farming and ranching in harmony with nature, where the farmer or rancher takes a broader view of their role in the world, especially in terms of soil and nutrient cycles. In other words, instead of harming the ecosystem, they create an environment where carbon sinks into the soil, water recharges the soil, and the overall progress, avoids the depletion of soil that happens with industrial agriculture. So what are the benefits, you may ask? Number one, regenerative farming is better for the soil and makes it more drought resistant. This is important during droughts, which is actually being experienced right now in Utica as we speak. Number two, the practice of grazing only parts of the land and leaving the non-grazed land time to recover is very important. So by simply restricting the cows' access to all the land at the same time, the grass has time to grow and recover. We need time to recover, and the grass needs time to recover as well. Number three, regenerative farming is better for the climate because this type of farming literally puts the carbon back into the soil, which leads to reversal of climate change, and that's really cool if you really think about it. Number four, the regenerative farming practice reduces the need for harmful chemical fertilizers that reduce soil health and destroy what we call biodiversity. Now, number five is regenerative farming practices can be more profitable for the farmer, and one of those reasons because of the reduced cost of expensive fertilizers, since the cows can provide natural fertilizer, like the cow that's walking right by me. But that's not enough, that's enough from us, a city boy. I actually have a special guest for you guys today, and that's my wife's cousin, Don McGowan, along with his beautiful wife, Anastasia McGowan, who are hosting us in Utica. So I'm going to ask Don to join me. Come on over here, Don, because I have a few questions for Don, because like I said, I'm a country boy. He's a city boy, he's a country boy, and I think he knows way more about this than me. So Don, I know you kind of grew up in the country. I grew up in Chicago, you grew up here, but you decided to stay. So my question to you is, what made you decide to stay as opposed to joining me in Chicago?
Well, I did have my experience of Chicago when I went to the service.
Yeah.
And been in the country, you got more open, and houses not on top of each other, and your neighbor might be a quarter mile away or
right.
so, So I like the outdoors and being in nature.
Yeah.
With wildlife.
I'm looking around, and I kind of can see a house beyond those trees over there behind us. But when I look to our right and straight ahead, I don't see any other houses.
Right.
That's insane.
Yep.
And we have like a quarter lot in Chicago, so it's not even close to that. So that's insane. Now, behind us are some beautiful cows. What made you interested in even taking care of cows in the first place?
It really became like, I looked at it as an investment opportunity for when I get ready to retire, to have income still coming in. So that was my main purpose in that.
Cool. So it's actually literally a good investment.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's a good
investment. It sounds like, yeah. Okay, cool. And I know when we talked earlier, before I recorded, you said that you guys had goats.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have goats anymore, so
No.
what made you decide not to have goats on the farm?
Yeah, the goats were a little more rambunctious. They would kind of like to go everywhere and wasn't quite set up to handle the goats, and it was a little more time consuming. So
Oh, okay.
sold the goats, but they do help with maintaining your brush and woody plants in the pasture. So
Yeah, and it's just beautiful, man. It's like, is it a lot of work to maintain this land because it's so vast? I mean, are the cows doing all the work for you because they're grazing, or?
yeah, for the most part on the grass, if you got your cattle per acres kind of managed, you can they'll take care of all for your grass, so you won't have to do clipping and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a beautiful. It's so peaceful, and it's got to be good for longevity because in the hustle and bustle of the city, it's kind of rough. So for you, you have cows. Are you milking the cows? Are you doing anything like that?
No,
with them?
we just beef cows.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Another thing I learned, man, I mentioned this to you. I literally thought that factory farming was literally the cow is born in a factory and they die in a factory. And now I've learned that there's actually small ranchers like yourself who actually feed the factory farm. So actually cows actually have most of their life is actually a pretty good life. They're out in the open, they're enjoying life on earth, and I think that's something that really kind of was really cool. So we're actually going to take a look at the stars of the show, which are the cows, and as you can see, they are having a ball doing their thing with this grazing. So Don, tell me a little bit about, is that all they do all day is just graze all day? I mean, what the heck's going on here? I mean, I couldn't see myself. When I was a vegetarian, that's what I did. I was a cow. I grazed all day, but I just couldn't stand going to the bathroom just as much. So what's your thoughts on how they spend their day?
That's most of their day. They're grazing, and at a certain time of the day, they get their belly full. They'll lay down, and then they'll chew the cud from the grass that they've already went around and ate. So,
Okay.
But most of the day, they spend around roaming, eating.
And that's what they do,
drinking
huh?
Water, yep.
That is amazing. Now, I know when we eat, we have to have water at some point. So tell me a little bit about where they're going to get their water from, because it's been a drought here in Unica. So where's the water coming from?
We have a pond in the pasture where they get the water from.
Now, where did this pond come from?
We had that pond dug about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're in a situation where you don't have a pond, you have to get it dug, and how do they know where to put it?
Basically do a survey of the land and look at the water drainage, and for the size pond, they determine the location where they need to put it based on the rainfall and the drainage.
And then you have to pay for somebody to come do it, or do they provide that as a service?
Farm Service, USDA do have programs for beginning farmers, and they'll provide payments for those. You have to apply for it.
So the whole point of the video was to also talk about regenerative farming, but the question is, now I kind of explained what that was, and basically you have to give land time to recover and rest. So I see this big plot of land. How do you make sure that the grass is not overgrazed? I mean, do you have certain sections that you focus on?
Yep. We've got the place cross-fenced into 3 different pastures, and based on the height of the grass, we rotate the cows and try to at least every 30 days, and make sure get that pasture time to recuperate.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, what I also noticed, if I was in a drought in Chicago, right, the grass would probably not be this green, right? So I don't know what's going on with this grass. I don't know if it's because these beautiful animals have put some fertilizer on it. Is there something different about the grass here?
It's just probably the type of grass. You got certain grasses that are more drought resistant than others.
This is totally unrelated to what we're talking about, but when I look at your beautiful house that's kind of here in the background, right? Right behind it, I see an electric pole. I'm sure that wasn't here before the house.
Oh, no.
So what's the process of getting electricity out to your home when you're kind of building on a farm where there's no electricity?
But it got main power lines. It's probably about 100 yards to our right there.
Okay.
But just get with it, electric company, and they come out and see how much power line, how many poles you need.
Okay.
And they take care of the rest.
Wow, guys, this is crazy. I remember when I drove, beyond where the cows are, we drove up this road, and I remember taking that drive for the first time when it was dark, and it was dark, and you come up this road and you kind of ease on down until you get to the house, and I think there's some families that live further up the road, right, Don?
Right.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing, and for a city guy, I'm just loving all of this. And I just want you guys to just get a feel for, where food comes from. Like, I'm a ribeye guy, but where does my ribeye come from? And now we have a better sense with the help of Don that it actually comes from Mother Nature, but we have to be very focused on how we treat our land. I just want to remind you guys that, we can make the earth more sustainable. Vegans and carnivores can live in harmony because, unfortunately, if we're going to have life, there must be death. It's a circle of life, and that's okay. Because if you have monocrops and you're just growing corn, you have to, fertilize it with chemicals, unfortunately, and a lot of times you're killing the bugs in the soil, and the bugs, the birds don't have anything to eat, and there's little rodents. So whenever we're trying to feed humans, there's always going to be a sacrifice. But the key is that if we can find a way to make that sacrifice that honors the earth, honors everybody on the earth, animals and humans, that's a more sustainable way to do things. And I just think that for a city guy like me, hanging out with a country boy, it's important that we put things in perspective. So I hope this video provides that perspective. I hope that it makes you think twice about, when you sit in front of that meal, to honor that cow, that beautiful animal that has sacrificed their life on our behalf. So I hope that all makes sense to you. I really appreciate you coming to this video. Like, subscribe, share with friends and family. And until we do this again, guys, continue to be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.